Imagine this: the phone doesn't ring. The screen stays dark. The silence in the room is no longer peaceful. It's deafening. It's heavy. It's a presence all its own. You can feel the ghost of every text that isn't sent, the echo of every call that never comes. This is the silence of the standoff. This is the emotional no man's land you enter when an avoidant and you simply stop. You've made your choice, consciously or not. You've decided to stop chasing, to stop initiating, to stop pouring your energy into a black hole of unreciprocated effort. And in that moment, a cosmic switch is flipped. The entire dynamic of that relationship, that connection, that painful dance is forever altered. And I'm here to tell you that what happens next is not a mystery. It is a predictable, powerful, and ultimately a profoundly liberating psychological and emotional chain reaction. This isn't about games. This is about the fundamental laws of human connection and what occurs when you finally reclaim the most sacred thing you possess, your pouvoir. For so long, you've been operating under a massive, soul-crushing illusion. You believed that if you just loved enough, if you were just patient enough, understanding enough, quiet enough, or perhaps loud enough, you could control the outcome. You could control their ability to be vulnerable, to be present, to be the partner or the friend you needed them to be. This illusion is the cage you built for yourself with the bricks of hope and the mortar of fear. The avoidant person, often without even realizing it, thrives within this dynamic because their distance creates a gravitational pull that you orbit around. Your entire emotional world starts to revolve around their cues, their moods, their limited capacity for intimacy. You become a reactor and they hold the remote. But the moment you stop contacting them, the moment you consciously decide to step off that emotional roller coaster, you do the one thing that shatters this entire false reality into a million pieces. You take back your agency. Think about it. All that energy you were spending trying to decode their texts, managing your own anxiety, walking on eggshells to not seem needy, planning the perfect thing to say to draw them out. Where is that energy going now? It's no longer being sent into their vortex. It's bouncing back to you. And this creates a seismic shockwave in the dynamic. They are no longer being pursued. The pattern is broken. The dance has stopped because you've decided to stop moving your feet. This is the first and most critical step because until this illusion is shattered, you are a prisoner in a jail where you also happen to be the warden. You have the key, but you've been afraid to use it because what lies outside the familiar walls of your pain is the terrifying unknown. But I'm telling you, the unknown is where your freedom lies. The unknown is where your life is waiting for you. When you stop, you send a message to your own nervous system, a message that is more powerful than any word you could ever say to them. I matter. My sanity matters. My peace matters more than this cycle of pain. And that message is felt deep in your bones, is the beginning of your resurrection. This shattering isn't a gentle process. It's like breaking a fever. It's uncomfortable, it's disorienting, and for a while you might feel even worse. This is the detox phase. Your mind, addicted to the intermittent reinforcement of their attention, those little crumbs of connection that kept you hooked, will scream for its fix. It will try to convince you to break your own resolve. It will craft elaborate stories about how they are suffering, how they need you, how you were the problem all along. This is the illusion fighting for its life, because that illusion, as painful as it was, gave you a sense of purpose. It gave you a problem to solve. And human brains would often rather have a painful problem they know than an uncertain solution they can't control. But you must stay the course. You must sit in the discomfort of the silence and feel it. You must allow the withdrawal symptoms to wash over you without acting on them. Because on the other side of that discomfort is a clarity so profound it will feel like a superpower. You will begin to see the dynamic for what it was, not a grand, tragic love story, but an imbalanced attachment system. You will see that your love was often just a mask for your own fear of abandonment, and their distance was a mask for their fear of engulfment. When the illusion of control shatters, the truth rushes in. And the truth is that the only person you were ever truly responsible for in that dynamic was yourself. You were trying to control their feelings because you felt out of control of your own. You were trying to heal their wounds while yours were bleeding all over the floor. Stopping contact is the ultimate act of surrendering that false responsibility. It's you admitting, I cannot change this person. I can only change myself. And in that admission, you find not weakness, but immense, unshakable strength. The ground beneath your feet feels solid for the first time in a long time because you are finally standing on your own 2 feet, not on the shifting sands of their approval or presence. You know the dance intimately. It's the withdrawal tango. It's a choreography of pain, a perfectly misstepped routine where one partner moves forward and the other instinctively moves back. You reach out with a vulnerable text. They reply with a closed, one-word answer. You try to plan a future date. They become vague and non-committal. You express a need. They disappear for 3 days. This dance is the core rhythm of the anxious, avoidant trap. It's a feedback loop of triggering and re-triggering, where your pursuit confirms their deepest fear that they will be smothered, and their withdrawal confirms your deepest fear that you will be abandoned. It's a vicious, exhausting cycle that drains your life force one missed connection at a time. But when you stop contacting them, you do something radical. You stop the music. You walk off the dance floor. The tango cannot continue if you refuse to play your part. This is not a passive act of waiting. It is an active, powerful decision to change the game entirely. For the avoidant person, this is a moment of profound system shock. Their entire defensive structure is built around managing your pursuit. Their walls are designed to keep you out. So what happens when the perceived threat just vanishes? When the siege is lifted, their defenses, which were once so active and engaged, are suddenly left pointing at an empty field. This creates a cognitive dissonance that is incredibly uncomfortable for them. The script they had written for your relationship, the one where they are the independent one who needs space and you are the needy one who can't respect boundaries, is suddenly rendered useless. You have, by your inaction, rewritten the entire narrative. The screeching halt of this dance forces both of you into a state of stillness that you have likely never experienced within the dynamic. In that stillness, the fog of constant reaction begins to clear. Without the daily or weekly drama of the push-pull, you both have the space to actually think and, more importantly, to feel what's really there. For you, this is where you start to feel the raw ache of your own attachment wounds without the distraction of trying to manage theirs. For them, it's often a slow dawning. The initial relief of having no demands placed on them eventually gives way to something else, a curiosity, then concern, and often, for the first time, a genuine sense of loss. You see, as long as you were dancing the tango, they never had to truly experience your absence. Your constant pursuit was a background noise that assured them of your presence, allowing them to take it for granted. When that noise stops, the silence becomes audible. They are left alone with themselves, and often, that is the very thing they have been running from all along. Their own feelings, their own emptiness, their own capacity for missing someone. This does not mean they will come running back with a grand epiphany. Sometimes they do, but that is not the goal. The goal is the halt itself. The goal is to break the addictive, toxic cycle. By stopping the dance, you are essentially administering a form of exposure therapy to the relationship. You are exposing the raw nerve of the connection without the anesthetic of the dysfunctional pattern. This is where real change becomes possible. Not the superficial change of a few nice texts, but the fundamental change in the energy between two people. It creates the conditions where they are forced to either step up and engage as a full, authentic participant, or to fully and finally reveal their inability to do so. Either way, you win. Because you are no longer spinning in a dance that was making you dizzy with pain. You have found your own center, and from that place of stability, you can finally see the situation with clear, unclouded eyes. In physics, there's a fundamental principle: nature abhors a vacuum. Where there is an empty space, something will always rush in to fill it. This is not just a law of the physical universe, it is a profound law of human psychology and energy. For months, maybe even years, your emotional space has been completely occupied by this person. Your thoughts, your feelings, your daily focus, it was all consumed by the dynamic. It was a full-time, unpaid, soul-destroying job. You were the director of overthinking, the manager of mixed signals, the CEO of anxious anticipation. Your inner world was crowded, noisy, and chaotic. But when you stop contacting them, when you consciously withdraw your energy and attention from them, you create a massive vacuum. You fire yourself from that terrible job. And suddenly there is space, a vast, echoing, and initially terrifying emptiness. This emptiness is the most fertile ground for your transformation if you have the courage to face it and not immediately try to fill it with another distraction. Most people are terrified of this vacuum. This is why they jump from one relationship to the next, why they immediately re-download the dating apps, why they plunge into workaholism or other forms of numbing. They cannot stand the silence, the stillness, the feeling of being alone with themselves. But you are not most people. You are reading this because you are ready for something more. You are ready to reclaim your life. So what rushes into this vacuum? At first, it will be grief, loneliness, and anxiety. That is natural. Let it come. Feel it, welcome it. Those feelings are not your enemies. They are the evidence that you are detoxing from a powerful addiction. But if you stay steady, if you do not run back to the old dynamic or leap into a new one, something miraculous begins to happen. After the storm of withdrawal passes, a profound calm can settle in, and into that calm, new things begin to flow. Your own energy, for one. The life force you were pouring into a black hole starts to refill your own reservoir. You find you have mental capacity for new ideas. You have emotional capacity for joy that isn't contingent on someone else's behavior. You have physical energy to invest in your health, your hobbies, your passions. The universe, sensing an open and available space, begins to send new opportunities, new people, new versions of yourself that you had forgotten existed. This is the magic. By creating a vacuum where this person used to be, you make room for your destiny. You make room for a love that doesn't require you to abandon yourself. You make room for a purpose that is entirely your own. The key is to be intentional about what you allow to fill this space. Don't let it be filled with bitterness or stalking their social media. Consciously choose to fill it with self-care. Fill it with learning. Fill it with the friends you neglected. Fill it with the dreams you put on hold. The vacuum is not your punishment. It is your greatest opportunity. It is the blank canvas upon which you get to paint the next, most magnificent chapter of your life. The old painting was cluttered and dark. Now you have a fresh start. What will you create? As long as the dysfunctional dynamic was active, you had a perfect scapegoat for your unhappiness, their avoidance, their coldness, their inability to commit, their mixed signals. It was easy to point the finger and say, if only they would change, then I could be happy. This external focus is a survival mechanism. It protects you from having to look at the most terrifying place of all within. But when you stop contact, when you remove the primary source of your distress from your daily life, an uncomfortable truth begins to emerge. The noise of the drama fades, and you are left alone in a room with yourself. And you might realize that the chaos of the relationship was a distraction from a deeper, more pervasive sense of emptiness, unworthiness, or pain that was there long before this person ever came along. The real problem was never just their avoidance. The real problem was that you were willing to tolerate it. The real problem was that you confused your capacity for pain with your capacity for love. The real problem was that you believed on some deep subconscious level that this was what you deserved. This is the moment of reckoning. This is where you stop being a victim of their behavior and start becoming the architect of your own healing. You are forced to ask the hard questions. Why was I so addicted to the chase? Why did I believe that love had to feel this hard? What within me felt so unlovable that I was willing to settle for breadcrumbs? What childhood wounds or past experiences programmed me to believe that an inconsistent connection was better than no connection at all? This is not about blaming yourself. This is about empowering yourself. Because if the problem is out there, in them, you are powerless. You are a leaf in their wind. But if the problem is rooted in your own beliefs, your own patterns, your own unhealed wounds, then you hold the power to fix it. You can do the work. You can go to therapy. You can read the books. You can practice self-love. You can reparent your inner child. You can learn about attachment styles, not as a way to diagnose them, but as a way to understand and heal yourself. This journey inward is the real work. The relationship was merely the symptom, the classroom that revealed the curriculum you needed to learn. Their absence becomes the greatest teacher you ever had. It forces you to build a relationship with the one person you've been neglecting all along while you learn to validate yourself, to comfort yourself, to champion yourself. You discover that you are not empty. You are a whole, complete, and worthy person with or without a partner. You realize that the love you were seeking from them was a love you were uniquely qualified to give to yourself. This is the pivotal shift from an external locus of control to an internal one. It is the difference between saying, "They broke me," and saying, "This experience revealed where I was already broken, and now I have the tools and the strength to put myself back together, stronger and more whole than ever before." Personal power is not about controlling others, it's about commanding yourself. It's about the unwavering knowledge that you are the one who gets to decide what you stand for, what you will tolerate, and what you will create in your life. For the duration of that draining dynamic, your personal power was on loan. You had handed over the reins of your emotional well-being to someone who didn't even want them. You gave them the key to your inner peace, and they often unintentionally kept losing it. The act of stopping contact is the moment you march right up to them, metaphorically, and you take that key back. You reclaim your sovereignty, and the moment you do that, a torrent of power that was dormant within you is unleashed. This power manifests as boundaries, not as walls to keep people out, but as gates that you consciously control. You now know what you will and will not accept. You learn to say no without guilt and yes without reservation. This power manifests as self-respect. You begin to look in the mirror and see someone you are proud of, not because they are perfect, but because they have integrity. They keep promises to themselves. They choose their own dignity over the temporary high of a crumb of attention from someone who has shown you their limitations. This unleashed power also fuels a profound shift in your identity. You are no longer the person who is obsessed with their avoidant ex-partner. You become the person who had the strength to walk away from what was hurting them. That is a powerful story to tell yourself. It becomes part of your core identity. You start to carry yourself differently. Your posture changes. The look in your eyes changes. There's a steadiness, a calm assurance that wasn't there before. This energy is palpable. People sense it. You are no longer emitting a frequency of neediness and desperation. You are emitting a frequency of self-possession and wholeness. And this, in turn, transforms every other area of your life. You become more assertive at work because you've proven to yourself you can face difficult emotions. You become a better friend because you have more emotional capacity to give. You pursue goals with a new vigor because you are no longer draining your energy into a lost cause. The discipline you cultivated by not breaking no contact translates into the discipline to wake up early, to work out, to build the life you truly want. This is the ripple effect of claiming your power. It doesn't just fix your love life, it upgrades your entire existence. You realize that the relationship wasn't holding you back, you were holding yourself back by staying in it. Now that you are free, the entire world opens up. You understand that your power was always there waiting for you to stop giving it away. It was buried under layers of fear, conditioning, and misplaced hope. The silence, the space, the vacuum, it all served to excavate that power. And now that it's unleashed, no one can ever take it from you again. You have learned the most valuable lesson of all, that you are the source. Energy is a currency. You are constantly broadcasting a signal into the world, and the world responds by sending you matches to that signal. For so long, your signal was a complex mix of neediness, anxiety, and a desperate hope for validation. You were, in essence, a beacon for unavailability. You attracted the avoidant because on some level, your energy confirmed their worldview that relationships are suffocating and full of demands. Meanwhile, secure, healthy, available partners likely felt your preoccupation and your underlying anxiety, and they simply passed you by. They weren't drawn into the drama. They were looking for a partner, not a project. The dynamic with the avoidant was a perfect, albeit painful, energetic match. But when you do the work, when you shatter the illusion, stop the dance, fill the vacuum with self-love, confront your real problems, and unleash your personal power, your entire energetic signature changes. You are no longer broadcasting a signal of, "I need you to complete me." You begin to broadcast a signal of, "I am complete, and I am open to sharing my wholeness with someone who is equally whole." This is a game-changing shift. This new energy acts as a powerful filter for your life. It automatically repels the kind of dysfunctional, draining relationships that used to be your norm. The avoidant, the narcissist, the emotionally unavailable, they will sense your new boundaries and your self-respect from a mile away, and they will simply lose interest. You are no longer a target for their patterns because you are no longer playing the game. More importantly, this new energy actively begins to attract a different caliber of people. Secure, confident, loving, and available individuals are drawn to your peace. They are drawn to your clarity. They are drawn to the fact that you are not looking for them to fix you or to be your everything. You become a magnet for healthy love, for genuine friendship, for opportunities that align with your highest self. This isn't magic, it's cause and effect. You have become a different person, and different people live in a different world. The world of anxiety and pursuit was filled with confusion and pain. The world of self-possession and wholeness is filled with respect, clarity, and mutual admiration. When you stop contacting the avoidant and truly move on, you are not just leaving a person behind, you are leaving an entire old reality behind. You are stepping into a new dimension of existence where you are valued, seen, and loved in the way you deserve, but first and foremost by yourself. The greatest love story you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. And from that solid foundation, you can build a partnership that is an addition to your already wonderful life, not a rescue mission for your emptiness. What we've walked through today is more than just a strategy for dealing with an avoidant person. It is a blueprint for claiming the life you were always meant to live. This journey that begins with a simple yet profoundly difficult decision to stop contacting someone is in fact the catalyst for the most important expedition you will ever undertake, the journey back to yourself. It is a path that forces you to shed the layers of who you thought you needed to be to earn love and to rediscover the powerful, whole, and radiant person you have always been at your core. This isn't about winning them back or punishing them. It's about a fundamental recalibration of your entire being, where your worth is no longer up for debate and your peace is non-negotiable. Remember, the silence that feels so terrifying in the beginning is not an emptiness. It is the fertile ground from which your new life will grow. It is in that quiet space, free from the chaos of the push-pull dynamic, that you finally hear the most important voice you've been drowning out, your own. It is where you remember your dreams, your passions, your strength, and your innate capacity to not only survive but to thrive. The vacuum you create by pulling your energy back becomes the sacred container where you rebuild, piece by piece, the confident and self-loving individual who knows, without a shadow of a doubt, what they bring to the table and is no longer afraid to eat alone. The real transformation, the kind that lasts a lifetime, occurs when you stop seeing them as the problem and start seeing the dynamic as the classroom. It was the intense, often painful, curriculum you needed to confront the parts of yourself that required healing. Your attachment wounds, your limiting beliefs about love, your tendency to abandon yourself for the sake of a connection. These are the real adversaries, not the avoidant person. By facing them with courage and compassion, you break the cycle not just with this one person, but for every relationship that follows. You change your lineage. Therefore, let this be the moment you decide that your story is no longer defined by someone else's inability to see your value. Let your story be defined by your courageous decision to finally see it yourself. Let it be defined by the boundaries you set, the self-respect you cultivate, and the profound personal power you unleash upon the world. You are not moving on from a person, you are moving towards your destiny. You are clearing the decks for a love that is secure, a love that is consistent, a love that is a reflection of the love you now hold for yourself. So the next time you feel the pull, the old familiar ache to break the silence, I want you to remember this: that ache is not a signal to reach out to them. It is a signal to reach into yourself. It is a reminder to pour that same intensity of love and attention into your own life. Forge the career, deepen the friendships, embrace the hobbies, and build the life that is so incredibly fulfilling that the old drama feels like a distant foreign land. You have been given the map to your own freedom. You have the strength to walk the path. The first step is a decision, and you've already taken it. Now, take the next, and the next. Your future self is already there, waiting for you with open arms, grateful that you never gave up on them. Thank you for having the courage to be here today, for being open to these words, and for taking the first steps on this journey back to yourself. Your transformation has already begun. Now go out there and claim the life, the love, and the power that is your birthright. I believe in you. Now it's time for you to believe in you. Goodbye for now, and go make yourself proud.